All right, there's the next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions, continuing our retro review series. Gonna be In Your House 11, Buried Alive.
Yep.
Yep, and it was on my birthday.
And it was not a bad pay-per-view either.
Yeah, I know. And what's funny about this pay-per-view before we get into it? So it was on my birthday. My mother still let me order this, but I had gotten in trouble in school, so I couldn't have anybody come over and watch it. So I watched this by myself in my living room.
Oh my God. That was it was an incredible main event
Yeah, yeah.
you just had to share it alone.
I was always in
Yeah.
trouble. So
Yeah. Who was it at that age? Come on.
something stupid. Anyway,
October 20th, 1996, from Indianapolis, Indiana, you had Vince McMahon, Jerry Lawler, and from time to time, Jim Ross.
yeah, they had a really cool intro. I love the intro of this where they show the talking about Buried Alive, the Mankind Undertaker feud. Those
Yeah.
intros back then were awesome with the music and everything. It's good
Oh
stuff.
yeah. This elevated Mankind
Hmm.
tremendously. The feud was amazing. It doesn't even finish here. I mean, it goes on to 97 and 98. I mean, this never stopped. Shoot, we might as well get one more WrestleMania match between
Oh
the two at this
no,
point.
no, that's all right. That's all right. Um, JR here for me was terrible because he was a heel, and it was just rough, and they kept messing with his mic. It was like,
Yeah, the thing with him is, and I remember this from that Yellow Book hotline. They had said that Jim Ross was turning heel to form a stable, and then the following week gives you the news, and it says that the whole Jim Ross thing has been squashed. Like we're
well,
not
because it
doing it
was
anymore.
terrible. Because it was terrible. That's
It
why.
really
It was
was. I
supposed to be
mean,
him and the fake Diesel and fake Razor.
yeah,
Yeah.
and supposedly one more,
Yeah.
but they never mentioned it.
Oh,
Who it was.
they squashed it because it was garbage.
During the first match, they're messing the microphone. He's attacking Vince, which I loved.
Yeah, yeah.
And now the opening match was supposed to be Savio Vega versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, but Savio Vega was injured, so they replaced him with Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Heel versus heel.
Yeah, but Austin
Some
was getting a huge pops at
Oh
this
yeah, you can
point.
see. It's interesting though watching those two back then, knowing going forward the great feud that they
Oh yeah, especially the three stages of hell in 2001,
yeah.
the two-man power trip. I mean, this is just going to be awesome forward. So we're watching them now is really good. And during this match, Vince had mentioned that Perfect was going to be facing Helmsley the next night on Raw.
Right. We know that doesn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, that he screws over Mark Merrow, and then okay, I did my job. I'm going to WCW.
Yeah, see you.
And then what's perfect, no pun intended, during this match is that Perfect actually comes down to the ring, and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
he's taking Helmsley's lady. Helmsley, gets involved. He gets attacked by Austin down the ramp.
You know,
Even Perfect got in Austin's face, which was like
yeah.
I was like,
That was
oh
his
man,
around that time he was stealing Triple H's valets
yeah.
around that time. That's what he was doing. I love the promo. I think it had to be before the match, that promo that Austin cut. That he was
Mhm.
like, well, I don't really give a damn what you think. You can kiss my ass, and you're like, all right, that's enough, Legion.
Yeah, Vince is like,
Like,
all
cut
right,
him off. Yeah, 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 yeah.
and then Ross is like, you let his
Uh,
microphone go.
oh man, that was great. That was great. Sign of
The
things to
whole
come.
the whole night
Yeah,
was awesome with
yeah.
the Ross thing, and I love later on when Ross, not to jump too forward, but Ross gets in the ring, finally gets on a microphone, tells him everything, and says, "Here, you can have this one."
Yeah.
But Ross during this match was also talking about how he got Bret Hart to be in Fort Wayne
Yeah, he was taking
the night
credit for Brett.
after.
Yeah.
He said he did. I go to South Africa? Yes, I did. I convinced him to come back and whatnot. Um, so getting back to this match, Austin throws water or soda or whatever it was on Perfect. Triple H, he then goes for the pedigree on Austin. He saw that Perfect was still there when he left the ring. Eventually, Austin gets the stunner on Triple H and gets the victory against him. So
Yeah.
they're really building up a match that's never going to happen. So I actually like that how they
Yeah.
did that. So following that match, now the next match is actually supposed to be now. It's going to be for the tag team titles. Owen Hart and the British Bulldog in a rematch, defending against the Smoking Guns.
Yeah.
They showed what led up to this match. The Smoking Guns the month prior losing the tag titles, Sonny firing them. Owen and Bulldog doing the nice gag on
Yeah.
Sonny's poster. I love that because Owen, real life, total jokester. So this would be something that he would do. So they're interviewing. Doc Hendricks is trying to interview the Smoking Guns, and Billy's like, "I'm going to do this. I'm going to get Sonny back."
Yeah,
And
Sonny back. Yeah.
Bart's like, "Dude, no, we need to get the tag titles back."
Yeah.
And I think this is around the time that they were about to split the Smoking Guns and create Rockabilly. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good idea, Vince. You create
I forgot.
Rockabilly.
Oh my God.
And the match itself on this one was not bad. This was,
It was
it
all
was a
right.
pretty good match between them. Although Billy Gunn was more involved about Sonny. They're
Yeah.
showing Sonny watching
Backstage.
the TV in a supposed nightgown, which whatever. She looked great back then.
Hmm.
Not anymore,
Yeah.
especially in jail. But the one thing that was a little ridiculous was at the ending of the match when the Smoking Guns are going for the finisher, and you see Bulldog is behind them. Like nobody sees this. Billy Gunn doesn't see this. The ref doesn't see this. And as they're going for their finisher, he pulls Bart Gunn back,
Hmm.
so they miss the sidewinder. And Owen does the spinning heel kick and pins Billy Gunn, and Owen and Bulldog are still the tag team
Yeah.
champions with Clarence Mason now as their
Yeah.
manager. So, and Billy and Bart are just not happy at this point, and the
No
breakup is
Sonny.
inevitable.
Yeah, no
Which is
Sonny.
not. I mean, they had a good run. A little over 3 years as a tag team is
Yeah,
not bad.
they won the titles. I mean, multiple times.
Exactly. They were like the tag team when the tag team division was light.
Yeah.
I mean, even around they go back to fighting Money Inc. I mean,
Yeah, they were WWE's answer to these guys in WCW.
oh, the Young Pistols.
There you go. Young
There we go.
Pistols. Yeah, yeah.
And, they were the Southern Boys before they came the Young
Yeah, Young
Pistols. But
Pistols. Yeah.
yeah, that's the Young Pistols are the wish list Smoking
Yeah.
Guns. I'll at least say
Well,
that.
they were the originals, man. They were the originals, so they can't be,
Yeah, the originals was crap.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. In any event, following this match, this is where Ross finally had it. Like I had mentioned before, he goes into the ring griping about Vince. His microphone's not working. Vince is just laughing this off, and Lawler's like, "You can have my mic, you can talk into my mic." He goes,
Right,
"No,
yeah.
thank you." Talks about how he was fired twice. He's trying to ruin his life, and I'm like, "Wow, this in only 3 years? That's impressive."
Yeah.
Because you only been there, a couple of years. Talks about how Brett's coming back. He mentioned that he's having dinner with Brett, and he's like, "Oh, Brett's going to be in Indianapolis." I said, "No, I'm having dinner with Brett. He's in, he'll be in Fort Wayne tomorrow night." And Brett's coming. He said he's coming with a shovel because he wants to bury some people. That doesn't sound like this is where the attitude of Brett's kind of changing. Not 1995, where I'm going to beat the crap out of everybody. This is he's coming back. I feel with a vendetta because obviously he feels he was wronged at WrestleMania,
Hmm.
and he wants to right all the wrongs. And especially now being challenged by Steve Austin, he's got a couple of people to take care of before he gets his belt back. So then Ross leaves. He goes to the back. He's doing the AOL thing with fake Razor, fake Diesel. Oh Lord, that gimmick was just the only. I mean, give him credit. Glenn Jacobs looked good in the attire. It's just I love the Razor. While they're doing that segment, he tries to do the toothpick and even screws that up.
Yeah.
I mean, come on with this.
Just
This is
defensive
nonsense.
feels garbage.
And then the next in your house, they give him a tag title shot. What is this? Come
It's just
on.
bad. It's just bad.
It was. This was. It really was. So now, following this match, they showed what happened on the free for all. Now, the next match was supposed to be Mark Merrow defending the Intercontinental title against Farouk.
Hmm.
Now, Farouk being legitimately injured, they used the storyline with Ahmed Johnson, who's not even cleared to come back yet, came back and hit Farouk. I believe it was with a 2x4, with a
Right.
wooden board.
Yeah, and then they try to say that he wasn't the aggressor, that Ahmed wasn't the aggressor. But meanwhile,
Yeah, okay.
he's
Yeah.
standing there with a 2x4. I'm like,
And
okay.
unfortunately, this is the start of like a 2+ year feud here. This is
Yeah.
where it's not going well for Ahmed. Unfortunately, not yet, but it's coming. So they announced that Goldust is the number one contender, already the 2-time Intercontinental Champion, to face Merrow. So, and then following this match, Mr. Perfect comes back. He talks to Ross on the way out. Ross is pointing to Vince. Perfect's like, I got this. He's going to do commentary for the upcoming match. Once he gets out there, they interviewed Mark Merrow, and as he's talking about, he doesn't care. Farouk's not going to be in there. It's fine. It's Goldust. It's whatever. Let's go. And the match itself wasn't bad.
No, it was fine.
You got Marlena. You got Sable down there. Perfect's building up the next night.
Mm-hmm.
Mero wins the match with the wild thing, which is shooting star press. I love that move.
Mm-hmm. It was
Wins
good.
the match. Perfect goes into the ring. What's funny was Perfect actually helped Mero because Helmsley came down during this match. And Perfect hits Goldust. It's a total chaotic scene here. You really think Perfect this is going to be like the main event of Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, and I was excited. I was excited, man. We're not gonna cover that episode, but just worth mentioning. I was really excited to see Perfect get back in the ring.
Especially with
Yeah,
the roster that you have right now
yeah,
going forward.
yeah.
But unfortunately, and I'm going to say this, and I remember this live. I was skeptical because I've seen this so many
The swerve,
times.
yeah, you could feel it coming, right? You kind of,
I'm like, okay, this is Mr. And this is back then. This is not me thinking now.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
back then. Mr. Perfect's always been a heel. I do not believe
Well,
that
he was a baby face in '93, though.
he was, but he was better as a heel and
Yeah,
better, like with the swerve especially. I felt like it was coming.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, they're building this up too much for it not to happen. And sure
And then
enough, the next night,
right, we didn't even get him. We didn't even get to see him wrestle.
no, he's like, oh, I can't wrestle.
No.
Mark Barrow's going to take my
Then
place,
he
and
managed.
he's going to put the title on the line.
He managed Helmsley for like 2 seconds after that, and then he just left.
And then off he goes to WCW.
Then eventually goes to WCW. Yeah.
It's a shame because I really would want to have seen Perfect and Mero even lock up, even with the swerve.
Perfect versus Shawn again in '96 would have been interesting.
Yes,
but
Perfect and Austin even.
it was not to be.
No, it was not. So the next time we see Kurt Hennig is 2002 in WWE when he comes back at the Rumble and then gets fired because of the whole thing with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So following this match now, they what was I going to say? Oh, let me just say this one thing going back to the Intercontinental title match. The one thing that actually disgusted me was Goldust actually getting on the microphone and saying if everybody doesn't shut up, he's going to stick his tongue down everybody's throat.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And the fact that 3 people at ringside actually opened their mouth. And the one cool thing also at ringside was, back then they had the starter jackets were coming, were getting in, popular, and the 2 biggest starter jackets that were sold back then were the Raiders and the Charlotte Hornets. For whatever reason, I had the Raiders one.
I had the Hornets.
See, those were the 2 popular because the Hornets one looked really well, really good. Yeah. I had the Raiders one. I'm not gonna lie. I married with children, Bud Bundy wearing it. It looked cool. And I was a Giants fan, but at that point, I was starting to really hate the Giants, and I liked the Raiders for whatever reason. So I got the Raiders starter jacket. But yeah, I kept looking at that Hornets jacket. And I'm like, man, I miss those days. Yeah. But in any event, now the next match, before the match, they did a video package about the master of the powerbomb.
Right. Yeah.
Who had it better?
Yeah,
or Vader.
They were saying
and Sean was saying, I've taken both, and believe me, they hurt just as equal. Yeah.
I think it was Cornette that was saying that Sid stole the power bomb from Vader.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Meanwhile, I remember Sid doing this.
This is WCW. This is WCW all over again.
Yeah, and the 2 of them had teamed together at one time, so it was cool to see them go at each other.
Yeah.
And the stipulation on this match is this is the number 1 contendership to see who's going to face Shawn Michaels at the Survivor Series. So who has to make their way down to the ring? Here comes Shawn Michaels.
Who wasn't on this card?
No.
As the WWF champion is not on this card.
Well, 2 reasons. One, because of this match, I believe, and also that the main event had to be the non-sanctioned Buried Alive match. And I honestly think the man needed a break, especially after his match with Mankind.
I mean, they did something different. I didn't mind because he was.
I liked when he came out doing the commentary and especially getting involved with the match, not getting involved, but after the match.
Right.
The match itself was pretty good. We already know that Vader was originally supposed to win, but because of the whole thing, Shawn Michaels, they decided to change it to Psycho Sid, which is fine because I always said I thought Sid should have been champion. If his run was longer the first time he was there, I think it would have happened.
Yeah, you kind of thought Vader was going to win too because I think it was right before this that I'm assuming it was on Raw. Vader pinned Shawn, I think, right? Does he pin Shawn?
Yeah.
The tag match. It was him and Jose Lothario, right? Shawn and Jose Lothario.
Yeah, Vader got the victory on him in the tag match.
Yeah. So.
And right before, what's funny? Sid in his classic interviews, he messes up during his interview.
Yeah. He screwed up, yeah.
he's like, he couldn't get the word out, and I'm like, oh, this is
It's
Sid.
not the first time.
No, it won't be the last.
Yeah. So
And what's funny during this match is Sid goes to the top rope, and I'm like, oh, please don't.
yeah, he did that cross body, right?
Yeah,
Off
at
the
least it
top.
was better than that one-legged drop kick from
No.
later on in WCW. Oh my
It's
God!
unfortunate ended his career, but
Yeah, this guy, especially this guy, did not belong on the top rope.
Vader
Yes,
Vader had
because
Sid
he was
beat
good at
too.
it.
No, Vader had
Yes,
Sid beat too, and he lifted him up, and he wanted to do the Vader bomb.
yep. And Sid, rather than use the power bomb as the pin, uses the choke slam
Well,
and
because he
pins
couldn't get
him.
him up. He couldn't get him
Yeah,
up. Well, he gets low blowed. I think the first time he gets low blowed.
yes, he does.
Second,
This is where
time,
you
he just
think
can't get him
Vader's
up.
going to win.
Yeah, I saw a shoot interview with Sid. He said he was too fat at that point. He couldn't. There was no way in hell he could have
Well,
gotten him
Vader
up.
was actually supposed to like jump into it.
He said that he couldn't. He couldn't get all the way around his hands. He said he was just too big. Couldn't do it.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So the master of the power bomb, and there's no power bomb.
There's no power bomb in this one,
Or
yeah.
either one.
Ugh. So Sid gets the victory. He's going on to Survivor Series. Sean's just like, okay, yeah, all right, this is fun. He goes into the ring, and it looks like they're going to start going at it because they're beefing at each other, and Sid's like yelling at him, but he shakes his hand, and they are friends at the moment, but the build-up from Monday Night Raw the next night to Survivor Series is the tension starts.
Yeah, I mean, even that promo afterwards, where Sid said he'll do anything to get the title.
Uh-huh.
So
you knew like, okay, we're friends,
Yeah.
but this is for the championship, and I'm gonna take, if I got to take you and Lothario out to do it, I'm gonna do it. And we all know what happens there.
Yeah.
So now, following this match, they did. It was like we mentioned, the Doc Hendricks interview with Sid, and actually on that one, Jim Ross interrupts him and interview. That's when he said, "Will you do anything?"
Will you do anything? Yeah.
He goes, "See, Doc, this is how you get the important questions answered." And I'm like, "Damn, I was actually kind of liking this." And then they squash it. Like I said, on the Yellow Book Hotline the next week, it was like, okay, Vince, decided to squash the whole Jim Ross thing, and Jim Ross is back to himself again. But I really did like this. This was pretty cool. Now they do the video package on Undertaker and Mankind.
The whole feud.
Oh my God, this was so amazing for 1996. From the moment after WrestleMania, this guy has made Taker's life a living hell. Mm-hmm. He's lost countless matches against him, titles, managers, urns, everything, boiler rooms. I mean, the first of everything. And now we've got a buried alive match. And this match was just awesome. There was, there was nothing that what you could point out that was wrong. They practically killed each other here.
They originally wanted to do this. Bruce Pritchard wanted to do it in a cemetery. They actually wanted to do like a cemetery match, but for whatever reason, they decided to do it like have the ring and then have
that would have been cool.
Yeah, no, there would have been, but for whatever reason, I don't know, they didn't do it. So
Vince really didn't do the cinematographic stuff back then as WCW would.
But they had the dirt. They had the dirt, and they had the tombstone. That tombstone looked really cool too, man. That was a pretty cool prop. Leading up to it, they would show it leading up to the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
They would show the
every time they did a buried alive match with that tomb, because I remember even the Vince McMahon Taker buried alive match.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was
I like that spot. I like that spot that Taker does. I think he jumps. I think he's behind the guardrail, right? He jumps out. I think he jumps over the.
Very agile for almost a 7-foot guy.
Yeah.
But finally, Taker choke slams Mankind in there, buries him.
Yeah, he wins the match.
They never ring the bell though, but they say that he won.
Yeah.
And Howard Finkel announces it. Now here's where it gets funny. Here comes Terry Bam Bam Gordy. I'm sorry, the Executioner.
The Executioner.
And they don't know who he is. He's beating down Undertaker, helps Mankind out of the hole, and Taker gets put in the hole. And here's where it even gets more funny. You got Helmsley. For whatever reason, these guys coming out. Helmsley, Crush, Bradshaw, Goldust, all buried into. Everybody's got a shovel, but Mankind's doing it like a dog.
This is like Royal Rumble 1994 all over again.
I was just gonna mention it. Yes.
Yeah, I'm like only that he won, that he actually gets to win
exactly.
This match, right?
And what's funny is that people start throwing the debris, so the
you saw it, right?
Are being buried. I saw one where almost hit Mankind. The ice is on the dirt. Now I
It
don't know
was a
why these guys came out, but for whatever reason they did.
yeah. It was pretty intricate the setup for it. How they did that. They actually did that. They had like there was an oxygen mask down there, but they had
Yeah,
like a little
you
there was
notice
like an
when
opening.
yeah, they immediately went down face first, so
Right,
you could
right.
tell that
Like
they
the
were doing
mask.
something.
And
Yeah.
then there was like an opening that I think you could like slip in to the
Hmm.
side. Yeah, so
Oh
that
yeah,
you
that had
wouldn't
to
get
be because
yeah.
of the weight.
It was crazy
I
though.
think there was a little bit of there had to be something else down there
There
for
was because it
Undertaker
wasn't
to wiggle his yeah,
yeah, because it wasn't Undertaker that does that. It's somebody else I think that puts the hand up.
that puts the hand
I
up
don't
through
think
the
it's
thing.
Undertaker, yeah. So
Because, yeah, because if I'm saying if in order for him to do that, you
yeah,
have to
yeah,
have
yeah.
like a little tunnel
Yeah,
there to move.
they
But
had
people
it.
may see that.
It's pretty cool, man, for the time. I mean, this is
I liked it. I
I was
thought it
so
was
upset though, man.
well.
I don't know how you felt when it happened. I was just there. I'm like, this guy again. I was like, again, mankind gets over on him. Again, he buries him a lot.
I threw something. I
I was
was
just shaking
having a
my head,
snack.
dude.
Something I
I was
threw at the TV. I was like, "God, this," and because
I
I
was like,
remember my mother
again?
yelling at me, and a friend of mine, my friend Mike, another Mike, was there watching it with me, and he's laughing when I did it. I was like, "That son of a
Yeah,
bitch!"
I was like, again with this guy. But so
I'm
then
like, you
eventually
just can't get a victory over him and be
and
done
then
with it.
no, that was a great feud though. But and then the lightning strikes, right? The
First the
lightning
thunder, then
first
the
the
lightning hits
and the lightning.
the grave,
It just reminded me so
and the
much of
arm
the Royal
comes
Rumble,
up.
and then the arm comes up,
But
right?
thank
And he's
God
alive. The
but
Undertaker's
yeah,
alive.
thank God there was no taking time off at this point like he did a Royal Rumble.
Right. But you know what's funny though too? Like we didn't get to see this obviously,
Yeah.
but it goes off the air, and then the New Rockers have a dark match right after that.
Hmm.
Right after the lightning hits and everyone Undertaker's hand comes
Yeah,
out, then
we didn't miss none.
the New Rockers had a
We
dark
didn't
match.
miss none.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
No, but I'm just saying
It's
that
not worth
as a
mentioning.
no, I mention it only to say it's funny. Imagine being there as a fan, right? Especially if you're really young. You see the
Yeah.
Undertaker got buried alive, and then they just go about their business. Like the medics don't come pull him out or anything.
Nothing.
They just
Like he's been buried alive.
right,
Rocker's
yeah.
theme hits.
Right, and that's it.
Like, okay, business as usual. Let's go.
Yeah. So that was it.
Well, we know he got out of there. I mean,
Well,
he gets out.
obviously,
He gets out of everything. I mean, this man's gotten out of everything. He's gotten out of coffins on fire, buried alive, multiple.
yeah,
I mentioned the Vince McMahon thing. He wins that match, but he gets no. I'm sorry, he didn't win that match. Vince wins because Kane buries him.
right, yeah.
I mean, it's just
Right, yeah,
funny. It's just this poor guy. You know, this happens to him every time. And again, like I just said, he wins against mankind, but it's just not over yet.
yeah. So, but the pay-per-view was good.
It was. Again, this was another leading up to getting ready, building up Survivor Series, which is going to be, pretty impressive. Debut of The Rock and all that stuff. So, WWE at this point is getting better. You could tell that the attitude movement is coming because there's a lot more animosity and the language and the
Right.
matches and everything else. They're progressing towards it, which they needed to do at this time because the NWO was just killing them.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right. Well, you guys let us know what you think. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. See you guys soon.
Take care.